The first noble truth taught by the Buddha is that life includes suffering. This suffering takes many forms. We have to deal with pain and death, disease and trauma. There's also the smaller frustrations and inconveniences like having a car breakdown, getting the flu, or bad weather ruining our weekend plans. Resilience is being able to adapt well in the face of stress or adversity. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to build your capacity to manage life's challenges. As a starting point, have you tried getting rid of all the sources of stress in your life? I'm kidding, of course, that's impossible. Even if that were possible, you might just end up with a life that wasn't very interesting or meaningful. As humans, we need resistance for growth. And some of our greatest challenges can also become some of our greatest sources of meaning. Just like the muscles in your body would atrophy if you avoided using them, your emotional strength can atrophy if you're too intent on avoiding discomfort. We can use our body's immune system as an analogy. When the body's exposed to germs, we may get sick, but then our immune system fights off the germs and also creates antibodies that help us quickly fend off the same pathogens in the future. We end up stronger and healthier because we've had practice being exposed to and overcoming those pathogens. We could also say that we have a psychological immune system that works in a similar way. We face situations that test us and stretch us, and when we respond effectively, that exposure helps to build up our psychological immune system, and we're more prepared for the next challenge. Now, we're not saying that there aren't some harmful experiences that we should definitely try to avoid. The cliche, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, doesn't work with things like anthrax exposure or traumatic brain injuries. But how this relates to building resilience is that sometimes it's helpful to deliberately and strategically stretch yourself in meaningful ways. You probably already have some experience with this. Maybe you've done some physical training for a sport or done extensive practice learning to play a musical instrument. Think about the effort it takes to learn a second language or all the challenge that goes into raising a child. I'm sure you can think of examples of things you've done that were hard, but they were worth it, and your life is better for it, and you're stronger because of it. Meditation is in the same category. It isn't always pleasant in the moment, but doing it makes the rest of your life better. As you meditate, you might notice physical discomfort or difficult emotions could come up, or boredom or restlessness. See if you can make room for all of that and work with the question, can I be with this just as it is? The bottom line is that you can't avoid stress and challenge in life. But what you can do is increase your capacity to handle the challenges that do come up. Shantideva, an 8th century Buddhist scholar, noted, "Where would I find enough leather to cover the entire surface of the earth? But with leather soles beneath my feet, it's as if the whole world has been covered." So let's talk more about what helps build resilience. Several consistent themes have emerged from the research on this. One of the most important things you can do is to prioritize your relationships. Strengthening your connections with others and being willing to lean on trustworthy friends and family members when times are tough is a hallmark of resilience. Also, taking care of your body and your mind. Exercise, sleep, good nutrition are important foundations for building resilience. Not surprisingly, there's also strong research support for mindfulness practices as a foundation for resilience. So, congrats on learning these skills. Developing healthy thought patterns, cultivating optimism, active coping, learning to recognize some of the thinking traps we're prone to, developing what we call a growth mindset. All of these are healthy thinking habits that promote resilience. In the positive psychology course I teach, we focus on what I call the 3 P's of human flourishing: perspective, people, and power. And really, we could say these are the essential pillars of resilience. The topics in the perspective column are about how we see ourselves in the world, We have the people column that's all about our relationships and sense of belonging. And topics in the power column have to do with growth, engagement, and transcendence. All of these are skills that can be cultivated. And I do encourage you to check out the My Best Self 101 website for free training modules to work on any of these topics. Working on any or all of these skills will definitely help you build resilience. The last important practice for building resilience I want to mention is what we could call taking in the good. It involves deliberately letting a positive experience sink in and allowing ourselves a few moments to enjoy it. We've mentioned in another lesson how the brain is like Teflon for positive experiences. It's like good things quickly slide away from our awareness. Because of that default setting in the brain, being deliberate about absorbing positive experiences is an important way to open up new neural pathways for resilience. It's like filling a reservoir of strength that you can draw from when life gets challenging. We'll practice this together in the next exercise, but you could look for opportunities to do this throughout the day. Maybe you get some good news, or you're enjoying a good meal, or appreciating a happy moment with a friend. Be deliberate about noticing the positive emotions that are part of this. Let this good moment really sink in. Open up to how this experience feels in the body, and imagine absorbing it, letting it become part of you. Even if it's just for 10 to 15 seconds, simply allowing yourself to enjoy it. Speaking about this practice, neuropsychologist Rick Hansen says, "You are not craving or clinging to positive experiences, since that would ultimately lead to tension and disappointment. Actually, you're doing the opposite. By taking them in and filling yourself up with them, your happiness and love will become more unconditional, based on an inner fullness rather than on whether the momentary facts in your life happen to be good ones." All right, so to summarize, you can build resilience through stretching yourself in meaningful ways, building strong foundations through good relationships and healthy skill development, and through deliberately taking in good experiences when they happen. Now, let's practice this.